video 4 or 5 times, so please bear with me because I thought the things I was saying was a bit too controversial. But forgive me for this, but I think anybody would find it be a very bit controversial here. And forgive me for saying this, but my fuck, what kind of a country do we live in? And forgive me for my language, but my God, what kind of a country we live in? The Irish Times that they came out with, I don't know what they're trying to be, West Brit or something like that. Like, what are they trying to do here, the Irish Times? They were told last time in 2020, people absolutely upward, and I mean they're absolutely upward the house is down. And now they're coming along with this article. The commemoration of the OIC in black and tans next year might be a better idea than the year before. Isn't that great? They're going to come along and say, fuck everybody who said, no way, Jose, should we celebrate the black and tans in the OIC. No way, we shouldn't do that. 100%. You look on Twitter, the vast majority of that time, people were saying, no way, Jose, we should do it. My mother was raped and tortured by the black and tans, and her whole house was burned to the ground, and her children were killed. And the burned Cork, there's many stories I seen online at the time about the houses being burned during the burning of Cork, just because the black and tans wanted retaliation because the IRA were getting the best of the black and tans and they couldn't defeat them really. And they wanted to burn just the city. It just causes much harm to the civilian population as possible. And the Irish government nowadays, me whole man and the West of them are like, I like that. I like what they did to the Irish people. They oppressed them. They took every right away from them. They made them feel like subhuman. Imagine if we went, take for example, we went to Ethiopia in the morning and we went to the Ethiopian government and we said, let's celebrate the Italians because the Italians colonized Ethiopia. And they used mustard gas against this people and everything that. Would the Ethiopian government, the Ethiopian people, say they would want to remember the Italian, they want to remember Mussolini and the rest of them? Would they say it? No, of course not. They would say no, 100%. They would say they would never do that. They would remember the people who stood up to the Italian oppressors. That's who they would remember. That's who they would care about. And that's who they want to remember. The people who fought for Ethiopia's freedom and tried to defend Ethiopia. They would be the people. They wouldn't want to remember the people who went with mustard gas and killed many of them. They wouldn't want that. And I'm sure it'd be the same with the French colonies in Indonesia and in other parts of the world. And the same with the British colonies. You think in some parts of the British Empire they would remember what the British Empire did. You think in India they want to celebrate the British Empire and what they did to the people. Take for example, crews and people who oppressed them. Basically, that's the word I'm trying to say here. They wouldn't do it. No other country would do it. No other government probably would consider it. If you asked any African government to tell you, they'd probably hang you for it. To be totally honest with you, they probably would hang you. Because again, it's like who is this sort of journalist they have from the Irish Times that's writing this article? Like what kind of bollocks? Like what kind of bollocks? Like in fairness, like there's better things going on in the country than talking about something that people said overwhelmingly, no way, we don't want the taxpayer money to be spent on this. I don't know what should to be told. Is this even Ireland? Is this even in China? They wouldn't even mention the Republic of China. They wouldn't even mention. It. But and the people who died in the Republic of China. Take for example when the Japanese were invading China. It was the Republic of China then, and obviously they aligned with the communists too to fight the Japanese. So they wouldn't. The Communist Party would hang you. They would definitely hang you over there for it. But it doesn't make sense. But basically what they're saying in 2020, take for example, they said it was a bad time because that's when the first time, 100 years on, they deployed the first black and tans were deployed in 2020. No, but what I mean by that, sorry, I'm getting very flustered. You can see why I had to record this a few times. Because it's nonsensical. It's really nonsensical. Imagine actually me having to sit here and talk about some journalist, and it's very likely the Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil be like, that's a great idea. We're going to do it anyway. Just because, fuck the Irish people, we don't care about them. That's more or less, this is... I'm actually gone into a tangent there. I actually can't remember. What was I saying? Yes, so yeah. In 2020 it was 100 years. So basically in 1920, the black and tans were first deployed to Ireland, obviously the beginning of the War of Independence in the 1920s. And they were first deployed by Winston Churchill to Ireland. He basically, this professor, whatever this kind of, I wouldn't even call them professor. They call them a lunatic, to be totally honest with you. Like, like, please explain, somebody. This Westbridge, somebody, please. But to say it was a bad time to do it, so let's do it next year. Let's do and I wouldn't mind, but the War of Independence, not even the cricket. OT is very quiet. You think they should be doing a program every day of the week about men who sacrificed their lives in the War of Independence, like my mother's mother, who was in Cunnaman. Who I'm sure even if she was alive today, she hid weapons. She hid members of the IRA, running away from the Black and Tans. Thankfully, she never was caught by the British authorities at the time. But imagine if she was. She would have been burned. Her house would have been burned. She would have been raped. She would have been tortured by the Black and Tans. And we have to say that straight. I'm sure if she was alive today, she would say, why the fuck did I bother? Why the fuck did I bother hiding the IRA prisoners? Put myself at risk. For people who were running away from the Black and Tans, who were on the run from the Black and Tans, and from the British authorities. I don't think she would be too kindly saying to the Irish government now, why did I sacrifice? And she probably knew many people who sacrificed their life so this country could be free. And basically the Irish government are just throwing in their faces and saying, we don't care about you anymore. You're long gone and we won't remember you. And that's more or less what's been said here. We remember the Black and Tans before we remember our own people who died for our own freedom. I actually don't know. I'm fucking fuming, to be totally honest with you. I'm actually fucking fuming because I can see them doing it next year. They'll roll up next year. The Irish government, Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, and he'd be like, let's do this, people of Ireland. It's going to bring all our spirits up. We're going to celebrate it. We're going to have a national day of holidays. I'm actually fucking speechless. I actually fucking don't know what to say. And forgive me for my language, but my Christ, it's just what can you reasonably say? I wish I was joking. I really wish I was joking, but this is not a fucking joking matter. Let's fucking totally honest here. We all remember our good friend Charlie Flanagan and Leo. They're the two people who brought this last year in 2030. They're the ones who started talking about this kind of fucking carry on. And basically at the time they were told by everybody to feck off and just have a bit of common decency for people who sacrificed their life for their country and who were tortured by the Black and Tans and who died from the Black and Tans' hands. And basically that was abandoned. But we all know that Charlie, particularly Charlie Flanagan, he was very sad that the Black and Tans didn't get commemorated. He was very upset about it, and he's probably still very upset about it. But at least Leo, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. At least Leo said, maybe the Irish people are not going to like people who their grandfathers, and I'm sure they will remember. Even in my family, my father growing up, his father told him stories of him, because he obviously was born back there, him going home from school and from different places and seeing people being tortured by the Black and Tans, being intimidated by the Black and Tans, for no reason, just because they felt like because they were Irish. And that's, to be totally honest, is that what they're trying to get at here? Because we're Irish, they don't like us. Is that the reason why? It's just I'll fucking. I really don't know. I actually have to stop because I'm actually getting a pain in my head, and I actually can't. There's no point in me justifying any. There's no justifying at all. There's no justifying at all. The full stop. Tell fucking me whole mountain in the west and cop on. Just please cop on. Can you just cop on? And tell this fucking journalist to do something with his life instead of finding this fucking kind of. I've never seen such garbage. I've seen many articles online talking shite about different things, but I never seen the like of this fucking crack. This person. I give up. I just really give up.